So there were 4 performance bonuses tonight. Miles John, Adrian Yanez, Alex Hernandez, and Kevin Holland. They all won $50,000.
What's up, Dana?
Who's got the first question?
Dana,
Hey, Kev.
first of all, can you did you talk to Anderson, and do you know anything about what he's
Anderson's been transported straight to the hospital.
doing? He was, okay.
Yeah.
He keeps saying this is his last fight in the UFC, but he wouldn't say it's his last fight, period. What do you know about that, and does he have any fights remaining on his UFC contract?
Yeah, he's got 1. And we had a deal. When he signed this contract, we had a deal that this would be his last fight. And you know what? The guys, let me put it this way. This week he came out and said in an interview, and I don't know, because I don't trust half these fucking guys in the media and how they set up questions and what they say and everything else. But all I can tell you is what I read, and I know what I usually read is fucking bullshit. So let me start here. That used to be like a family when Lorenzo was here and all that kind of stuff. And listen, we all miss Lorenzo, and I will always admit that Lorenzo was the gentler, kinder side of the UFC. But I've done nothing but be good to Anderson Silva. And tonight I don't feel good about myself that I let Anderson Silva fight this last fight. We've treated Anderson Silva with nothing but respect, and if you guys knew what Anderson Silva gets paid to fight, you'd shit your fucking pants. So I think that we've treated him like family. I shouldn't have let him fight this fight tonight.
But yet, his chin seems to be gone, because he seemed like he fought a pretty good fight, and yet when he got touched on the chin is when...
He fought a guy that has absolutely zero output. They're in a 5-round main event on ESPN. They threw 11 punches in the fucking second round. Yeah. You break into the, you fight any of these other savages, you know what I mean? He'll be in big trouble, and he'll take a shitload of punishment. Uriah Hall threw 11 punches in the second round. Uriah Hall's one of the most gun-shy fighters in the UFC. And look at Anderson. When the fight was over, he couldn't even stand up to do his interview. He had to sit down to do his interview, and I made a big mistake. I shouldn't have let him fight this fight tonight. But out of respect to him, and he's a legend of this sport, and he's a legend of this company, I did something that I disagreed with, and I knew I was right, and tonight proved I was right, and Anderson Silva should never fight again.
When I talked to him on video the other day, and I asked him, and he said definitely final UFC fight, but then he left the door open, jiu-jitsu or boxing or something else. So your contract with him, could you prevent him from doing those other things based on the contract you have?
I don't know. Listen, I'm not trying to prevent him from doing anything. He's a grown man, and he can do what he wants. He's got 1 fight left with us. I'll never let him fight here again. I want him to retire. And what I hope is when he goes home, his family tells him the same thing. So, at some place, I'm in a really hard position right now, because this is a guy that I care about. This is a guy that's been with the company for a long time. He's a legend of this company, and I don't want to just sit up here and shit on him. You know what I mean? But he's almost 46 years old, and unless you're trying to save your fucking life or defend your family, no 46-year-old should be fighting, period.
And finally, just, can you talk about his significance? You called him a legend several times, but what made him so great when he was in his prime, and why do you think he was so good in the UFC, where, he was on that upward trajectory, but he seemed like when he got to the UFC is when he finally just hit the big time? Yeah,
he could do things to people that other people couldn't. He was almost impossible to touch. He would be just on the end of your punch, where the leather might just touch you a little bit, and he'd come back with a combination that would either knock you out or almost knock you out. I mean, he used to do some fun stuff. What he did to Vitor Belfort when he fought Vitor, what he did to Rich Franklin. Chris Lieben at the time was undefeated and had an iron chin. He came in and made Chris Lieben look like he had no chin. What he did to Forrest Griffin when he went up to 205. The list just goes on and on of incredible things that he had a messed up rib. The Chael Sonnen fight goes the whole way, and then he submits him, with a couple minutes left in the 5th round. Just legendary fights that Anderson Silva's had here, when he was in his prime. And, so.
I just want to ask one question on just a slightly different topic. I had a number of British fans ask me this. They were saying because the country is going to be locked down again, I guess on Monday, that will that affect Leon Edwards? Do you know? And will he be able to fight? You know, he hasn't fought for a while. So what impact will that have on Leon?
Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head. You know what's funny? Damian Hurst texted me tonight. You know that him and his girl were watching the fights, and he told me we're about to go on lockdown again tonight. I didn't even know that. So that was the first I heard of it tonight, and that's a good question, and I'll look into that after the scrum.
Hey, Dana. I remember once you described dealing with Anderson Silva like dealing with an artist, trying to get deals done.
Right.
Is there a memory of like an incident that you remember where he was just a frustrating artist but kind of fun to deal with?
Yeah, you know, every time we would sit down to do a fight, you know, there was just a process to it. It was never bad. It was never, you know, combative or any of that type of stuff. There was always just a process you had to go through with Anderson, and maybe that's what he means when he says it hasn't felt like family for him, because we haven't gone through any processes lately, you know. I don't know, but yeah, it was always a pleasure dealing with Anderson. It was never bad.
You obviously mentioned you don't want him to fight again. You know there are other promotions that are going to sign him if he wants to go to them.
Yeah.
Is it-
Unfortunately, that's true. Disgusting, and that a commission would let him fight again is true. But you know, like I just told Kevin, he's a grown man. He can do whatever he wants, and I like and I respect the guy, and I just hope his family talks him out of it.
In the co-main event, we had Bryce Mitchell, but I think the real story was the camo shorts. Like, they became a viral sensation themselves. Is that something we could see with the Venom deal? More like single customized shorts for individual fighters?
Possibly, yeah, possibly. Cool.
Tonight, The Ultimate Fighter was finally announced, going to be airing in March. Any further news on the coaches yet?
No coaches yet, no.
Cool.
We'll get it done, though. I'm always looking for guys that add a lot of value to the kids that we bring onto the show, so we'll get some good guys.
Israel Adesanya was in attendance today,
Yeah.
and he was tweeting out Champ Squared.
Champs what?
Champ Squared, like Champ 2. Is he fighting Jan Blachowicz next?
Yeah.
He is?
Yeah, listen, when the fight was over, on Fight Island, the last fight, I was like, I'm going to have to sit down with this kid and convince him on why he needs to fight Whitaker. And Whitaker comes out and says he doesn't want to fight him. Craziest shit I've ever seen. So, yeah, there's no arguing with Israel now. I thought Whitaker deserved the shot, and Whitaker doesn't want it, so yeah, we'll let him do it.
So, you know, if he... that would presumably be in like February or March when we potentially go back to Abu Dhabi, that fight?
Well, I don't know. I don't know where we'll be.
But you know if he wins the 205-pound title, everyone's...
Listen, man, after how many days we got left? 4 days, 5 days, whatever. After all this wacky shit's over, we'll find out what happens. You know, I think that when the election's over, a lot of shit's going to change.
But if he wins the 205-pound title, then everyone's going to want him to fight John Jones at light heavyweight.
If he wins the 205-pound,
Yeah.
Okay. Me too.
Fair enough. Conor McGregor tweeted out lightweight division incoming, 155 pounds. Any further news on that fight?
Yeah, fight's done.
It's
Yeah.
signed?
I think so, yeah. As far as I know, it's done.
Cool. Thanks very much.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, one more. Mike Perry is out. Robbie Lawler's out of his fight with Mike Perry. Kevin Holland wants to fight him. He wants to fight Hamzat. Do you have an idea of who Mike Perry could fight next?
No, I don't.
Cool. Thanks, man.
All right.
Dana over here. I remember once upon a time, George St. Pierre's fighting, Anderson Silva's in the crowd, and it seemed like that was the super fight that was just aligning. How close was that ever in UFC history?
Never. GSP didn't want that fight.
Do you know why?
We had these deals where, at that time, Anderson Silva was in a very unique position. He could have gone down and fought George St. Pierre. They could have come up with a catchweight, or he could have moved up and a catchweight and did John Jones. Silva didn't want to move up and fight Jones, and GSP didn't want to move up and fight Silva. So none of those fights ever happened.
To talk about Anderson Silva, you know, the GOAT conversation, I know you've been getting a lot of it, Habib and GSP. Just where would you put Anderson all time if
He's
there
one of
is
the-
a
Yeah, he's one of the
number?
greatest. He's one of the greatest of all time. I mean, I don't know if I could come up with a number, but The more the sport, as the sport continues to grow and get bigger and bigger and better, you're going to see a lot of great talent coming through the next, 5 or 6 years. So, but Anderson Silva is one of the all-time greats. A lot of kids that would have played other sports became mixed martial artists from watching Anderson Silva. And, he had a massive impact on this company in Brazil and other parts of the world.
Earlier this week, it came out that you spoke with Khabib Nurmagomedov. You said, it sounds like, he will go for number 30. I was just wondering if you could elaborate on just, how the conversation went and the impression you got about his future.
Well, he didn't say that he'll fight at, whatever, but he didn't say no. He's considering the 30-0. His father wanted it, and I think that he was, super emotional, had the mumps, measles, or whatever, broken toe, trained on a stationary bike for that fight, and then came in and fought. And I think that, he was super emotional. So he's still the champ. There's no vacant title open right now or no interim title happening. He's the champ, and we'll give him some time to figure out what he wants to do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dana, Khabib seemed pretty sure that he was going to retire. What kind of feeling do you have that he is, and that you feel pretty good about that?
Yeah, I feel pretty good. He said he was going to talk with his mother.
Okay. And then you guys announced that he was the number 1 pound for pound. And
We didn't announce that.
oh, I thought you guys did announce
No, the media
it. Oh,
does.
Okay.
Yeah, the media. You guys
Okay.
do that. I
Okay.
don't know if it's you, but you guys, the media, voted him. He is the number 1 pound for pound fighter in the world. I mean, just that performance with Gaethje, on top of being undefeated and only maybe losing 2 rounds in his entire career. Yeah, I would say he's the pound for pound best fighter in the world.
John Jones kind of had some thoughts on Instagram, Twitter about that. He made some good points about the number of defenses he had made.
Yeah.
Any
No, I
thoughts
agree.
on Jones?
I've been telling you guys, John Jones is the GOAT forever. He's not the pound for pound best fighter in the world right now, though. But yeah.
Any more conversations with him, and we'll see him next?
No, not that I'm aware of. No.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you.
Just a couple, Dana. The Bobby Green, Thiago Moises fight. Did you agree with that decision? And what did you think about that fight?
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with the decision. It was a good fight. Went back, told Bobby. Bobby had a nice little gash on his eyebrow. It was a good fight.
And the other one is Kevin Holland. I thought he had a great performance as well.
Incredible.
What are your thoughts on him? And you got him going over to the cage, jawing with Izzy on the outside. Is there any possibility when something like that happens? Is there a possibility that he can maybe leapfrog a little bit? And is that up to the champ? If the champ wanted him,
No.
could he possibly hop in there?
No. I mean, listen, that kid's funny. He's exciting. He's fun to watch. But yeah, to leapfrog up to Israel Adesanya, no. I wouldn't do that to him anyway. I like Kevin Holland. He needs some time. You know what I mean? He needs some time. But listen, he looked impressive tonight. That kid came out and hit him with some big shots. He grabbed onto him. And for those of you that were sitting in there, he slammed the shit out of that guy. I mean, I can't remember the last time I've heard a slam that hard. I was like, I mean, I don't even know what to compare it to. Tito Evan Tanner? Couple of guys got slammed in my career.
Dan Henderson when he got slammed by Cormier.
Yeah, that was a nasty one too. But I don't even know. But the difference was, he picked him up and slammed him. Cormier did. Kevin Holland came down on top of him with all of his weight, like Tito and Evan Tanner. I'm trying to think of the ones that, when they've happened, that I've actually been, oh shit, like it fucking made me sick, like deep inside my fucking core. You know what I mean? That's what tonight was with those slams. Both slams that Holland slammed him with were scary.
And lastly, Greg Hardy, I was going to get your thoughts on his progression in the sport, and what did you think of his performance tonight?
He looked good tonight. And I think that the ref made a great stoppage. I know he was upset about the stoppage, but I thought it was a great stoppage. And Hardy looked good, man. He hurt him, took his time, caught him, hurt him, and then went in for the kill and finished the fight. Thank you, guys.
Hey,
go
Dana,
ahead.
just to clarify something, will you release Anderson from his contract? Since you're saying he doesn't want.
I don't know. I'm going to talk to him and You know, I'm not going to do anything to hurt Anderson Silva. He's a grown man. He can do whatever he wants to do. Well, I can't say I'll release him from his contract, but we'll figure something out. I don't know.
Just Chito Vera had an interview today, and he said he's expecting to fight Jose Aldo on the December 19th card. Is that a done deal, or is that a fight that you won't see? On
Who is?
Chito Vera. He said he.
Oh, Cheeto Vera?
Yeah, he said he's expecting to fight Jose Aldo on December 19th.
So
card.
Jose Aldo hit me up the other day and was asking me a bunch of questions, and I shot it over to the matchmakers. I don't know what they got done.
Did you like to see that fight?
Sure.
For Chito.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, guys. Happy Halloween.